It started with a single call to a public housing complex in East St. Louis, Illinois. What officers found there was human remains. Before that day was over, the scene had split into two more, then three, spread across the same small city. By Sunday night, investigators weren't looking at one crime. They were looking at 7 members of the same family, shot at 3 different locations. 5 of them wouldn't survive. And when police finally made an arrest 2 days later, they weren't looking at hardened criminals. They were looking at 2 teenagers, 16 and 15. One of them was family. The city is East St. Louis, Illinois, just across the Mississippi from St. Louis, Missouri. A place that's carried more than its share of hard headlines over the decades. Illinois State Police Director Brendan Kelly said as much himself at the first press conference. Violence on this scale is rare, even here. But it isn't unheard of. The family at the center of it is the May and Thompson family. 5 of them lost their lives that weekend. Cherie May, 49. Devin May, 24. Patricia May, 74. Quentin Thompson, 21. Shania Thompson, 25. Patricia, the oldest, had spent 25 years working at Southern Illinois University Edwardsville before she retired. By every account that's come out since, she was the person a big family orbits around, the one whose house everyone ends up at, eventually. By Sunday night, she and 4 of her relatives were gone. 2 more were fighting for their lives in a hospital across the river. The case opened at the Samuel Gompers Homes, a public housing complex on the city's north side, where officers recovered human remains later identified as Cherie May. Here's the detail that didn't come out right away. And it's the one that stuck with me the most. According to a later court filing, Cherie May had actually been killed days before that Sunday. Her death wasn't the beginning of the story. It was just the moment the story finally surfaced. From Gompers Homes, investigators connected 2 more scenes to the same case: a residence near 39th Street and Summit Avenue, and Jones Park, a few miles away, where 2 more people were shot and survived. 7 members of one family shot across 3 addresses in what police would later call a targeted attack. And then comes the detail that turns this from tragic into almost unthinkable. The victims weren't a family targeted by strangers. They were all relatives of the 15-year-old girl herself. The manhunt didn't take long. That same day, 2 teenagers were located and taken into custody at Holton State Park, not far from where the shootings happened. 2 days later, on Tuesday, prosecutors filed charges. Jaimir Davis, 16, of East St. Louis, was charged as an adult. 5 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and several additional charges tied to the aftermath of the crime. The girl, 15, not publicly named because of her age, was also charged, including with first-degree murder. Prosecutors have said they intend to ask a court to try her as an adult too. Before we get into what's still genuinely unclear here, and there's a lot, Sev, if you prefer true crime that waits for the truth instead of guessing at it, hit subscribe now. It costs you nothing, and it tells me these are the stories worth telling, carefully. This is the part where I have to slow down, because a lot of coverage has moved faster than the facts allow. Family members have told local reporters that the 2 teenagers were involved in a relationship the girl's family didn't approve of, and that the gun used had allegedly been taken from her mother beforehand. If that account holds up, it would explain a great deal. But it's a family's account, not a police-confirmed motive. When reporters asked Kelly directly, he declined to speculate, saying only that the full picture was still coming together. The girl's identity remains protected under Illinois law, and whether her case moves into adult court is still an open legal question. As of this recording, court rules also limit what prosecutors can say publicly about a juvenile defendant, which is a big part of why so many details here still feel thin. What we're actually left with is smaller than a tidy explanation, and heavier for it. A family that lost 5 people within days of each other, and a legal process that's only just started in the days since. The surviving family has turned to their own community to help cover funeral costs for 5 relatives at once. That's not a detail most true crime videos linger on. Honestly, it's the one I keep coming back to. Kelly said something at that first press conference that stayed with me. That a tragedy like this doesn't get to define a community, and that East St. Louis has carried grief like this before and kept standing. I don't know how this case resolves yet. Nobody covering it honestly does. What I do know is that stories like this tend to go quiet, right around the time the family needs people to keep paying attention. If you're looking for a case where the evidence came together faster and the ending's already written, the video on your screen has one of those. This one isn't finished yet.